If you've never been to the Hogg mine before, my advice to you would be bring every tool you have for rock hounding. Bring your sledgehammers, your rock pick, your chisels, your screens, bring your rock break and pry bar if you have one. Bring the whole kitchen sink of rock hounding tools, because you can do everything out here. There's the possibility of finding the mineral you'll be looking for almost every way conceivable in, the rock hounding handbook per se. So what I'm going to do right now is show you my methodology for working the easiest way for somebody that doesn't know what they're doing or what they're looking for. One of the main things I've found in a lot of my adventures rock hounding over the last year is to try and help gravity work for you if you're new to this sort of thing. It helps if you're not having to do work twice and you have a little bit of extra time to go through everything that you're digging, especially in a place like this where the dirt and the mud can definitely cover up the minerals. You can go from having some white quartz in 1 second and cleaning off another rock that's some really pretty rose quartz, or even the possibility of being a Aquamarine Beryl. So we're going to show you that basically on this hill. And the reason that I picked this hill specifically is because of this hole that somebody else dug. It's pretty deep and it's going down there, but instead of working their hole, I'm probably going to pick through their tailings first, but I'm actually going to fill this in. I'm going to fill this in by working on this wall and just picking at stuff and looking at stuff and getting rid of it, and not having to worry about where I'm tossing the tailings, because I'm pretty much just going to be filling in this hole. This person might come back at the next dig and be rather perturbed, but I doubt it. There was a lot of people here the other day. So let's get to that. The Aquamarine Beryl I'm looking for can be sort of difficult to see with mud on it sometimes. It can be very easy to miss, and it's not necessarily going to be in a barrel shape. I was told that the original miners were blasting using either dynamite or some other type of explosive in order to break up the quartz, which I fully understand after breaking some rocks up, which I'll show you here in a minute. This method I'm using right here is meant to be easier on your back, whereas digging a hole straight down and having to move the tailings after you go through the rocks can be sort of hard on the back. If you're digging into a hillside where everything's going to flow down at your feet or past you, it's not near as strenuous or labor intensive, due to there's no need to use a shovel to muck out the hole or clear out any of the rest of the tailings. You can just keep pulling stuff down from around you until the pile is pretty much equal, and then start pulling it past you. All in all, I would inspect every rock I can get my hands on. The shape and size doesn't really seem to matter for the Aquamarine Beryl that's at this mine. They can be 7 pounds, they can be 7 carats, it can be white and chalky, it can be blue and gemmy. So it's really just luck of the draw and how much work you put in, and if you picked a good spot or not, and if you can see it to actually pull it out of the ground, or know what you have in your hand to keep it and take it home. This mine was not originally mined for its aquamarine gemstones. It was originally mined for the beryllium inside of the beryl. Aquamarine is a silicate composed of both beryllium and aluminum. So they originally mined it in order to crush down the beryl crystals into beryllium and separate it from the aluminum, and use the beryllium for manufacturing products. During the editing of this video, one of my top viewers, Paul, sent me an email to correct me on something that I seem to be misleading people on. In the email, Paul says, "Morning, Kaliko. You implied that the octagonal non-gemmy aqua was beryl and the gemmy aqua was not. The way I heard it from you was beryl was a form of aqua. This is not the case. Beryl is the name of this beryllium-rich mineral. Impurities change the color of this mineral and give them their common names. Blue beryl is aquamarine, green beryl is emerald, yellow beryl is heliodor, pink beryl is morganite, and several more. All basically the same stuff. Beryl is the Swiss Army knife of the crystal world. Have a good day, Paul." And Paul is absolutely correct. Thank you for the input, Paul. And I always like to get feedback from my viewers. This is my adventures in prospecting, and I am definitely a rookie. So if I misspeak or I put something in there that's not quite accurate, please feel free to leave a comment down below. Go ahead and send me an email too. Now, I know I said that you need to bring everything in your rock hound and toolbox, but the main thing you need to have no matter what are gloves. Possibly multiple pairs of gloves, depending on how much you plan on using your hands, because this stuff will cut you easy. The story is when the original mine owners owned this claim and were hunting for beryllium way back in the day, early 1900s, late 1800s, that they were using 8-inch screens, literally 8-inch screens. So there was huge sizes of barrel material that was falling through the screens, and they weren't really going for the rose quartz, they were going for the beryllium. So there tends to be very large crystals left in the tailings. I mean, the stuff I've found so far has been, you know, like that size. That's a pretty good size. And I have seen people so far yesterday find more than a few pieces of gem quality aquamarine, little pieces that probably came out of the center of some of the barrels. So we're looking for little octagons or pieces of octagons that are sort of whitish, and this is not it. This is like a piece of smoky, but we're looking for octagons that are sort of chalky looking and whitish and have greenish teal blue sort of streaks going through it when you clean it. And sometimes you'll grab something that'll look like a smoky, and it will be what we're looking for. And then it can also be inside of stuff like this. It can be trapped inside of quartz. And that's some of that smoky looking quartz. You can definitely see the smokiness of it, especially right there. Right there. I need to stop talking in that monotone voice, don't I? It's my understanding that where I'm standing right now, which it makes a lot of sense considering it's the deepest part of the mine, is where the main pocket of Giant Beryl was found. Being that this is where the main pocket of Giant Beryl is found, I came down here to look at the quartz and the boulders that are in the area. Because I've seen beryl in a piece of quartz that somebody found while I was here just surface collecting. And what I'm noticing about the quartz, I can't see my viewfinder because of the sun, I hope you can see what I'm seeing, is that there's rose quartz and a little bit of black mixed in here and there, like that and that, and some sort of milky, and it's sort of all mixed in this whole boulder area. So I think that's what I'm looking to break open, is some stuff like that. Apparently I can mine this if I want, and there's a possibility of a some beryl coming out of it. Who knows what could happen with my rock breaking pry bar, right? I think I'm gonna find a boulder that looks similar to this and break it open. So I found myself a few rocks to break open. This is the first one that I started on, and I first looked for what looked like a fracture line in it and went for that, and it was pretty much smooth sailing. It broke right open. You can see the mud line right in the center of it. Part of the reason that it broke open so easily, I would find out here in a couple of minutes. See that mud line? And then I went to work on some of these bigger boulders. And what I started finding out when I was trying to break these apart is even if I thought I was in fracture points where I could get it to break open in big chunks, that wasn't necessarily the case. It would break apart like glass on me, and it would start to shatter. I started getting frustrated on some of the bigger rocks, and I would just grab my sledgehammer and try to knock off corners of it. After banging away on 4 or 5 quartz boulders, I decided that any barrel I found inside of them would more than likely be smashed to bits from the abuse trying to get the quartz to open up. The quartz was extremely hard and fragile. It would just shatter apart and wouldn't really want to come apart in any knowable form or fashion. So I decided to quit this and go back to digging. This is a great representation of a professional digger's hole. How he basically constructed it originally was scraping out some of the tailings and going through it and making himself a spot to sit, and then taking out the overburden area that might end up falling down where he wants to sit, his head and stuff, and then digging into everything and bringing it out towards him while going through it and tossing it back up on the berm. So it's a really good method. It works amazingly well, and I would recommend it to anybody. All right, go ahead and pull it out. Bring it right there. All right, go ahead and wipe it off a little bit for me. This looks like a white, yellow, creamish sort of green rock.
Yeah, it's not got a lot of aqua in it. It's just beryl. It's got some green in it.
Yeah. So it's the end of my time here at the Hogg mine, and this place is a true jewel inside of Georgia. There are so many different minerals being found on this one claim that it's hard not to want to come here and look for something. I mean, moonstone, black tourmaline, from what I hear, amethyst, but that doesn't surprise me considering all of the gem quality rose quartz that there's here, and there's super clear regular quartz, but I didn't see a lot of terminations. This place is really, really awesome. It's a true mining experience. You can get as dirty as you want, break as many rocks as you want, go down as deep into the pit as you want, and there's not a lot of places where you can get that. It's awesome. I really enjoyed myself, and I think my kids would enjoy themselves here because of the freedom that it allows. I had a great time thanks to the help that the owner has here. Dave and his girlfriend were amazing. They're great people. If you ever meet them here, give them an extra tip. Tell them it's from Mining America's viewers. Also, his name is Mark King, and he owns the Earth Forge Gem and Mineral Store in Huntsville, Alabama. Check him out. The guy was awesome. He helped me out this whole time while I was here, gave me as much information as I could absorb, and he's a really great guy, so check out his store. So as I'm wrapping up my time here, I can't say enough good things about this place, to tell you the truth, except for I plan on coming back because I want to find that really big barrel that I didn't find this time. I want that giant one. You know what I'm saying? We all want that one, right? But I got tons of good stuff, so I'm going to take you home right now, and we're going to see the good stuff I got. Let's go home. This is my haul of quartz I left with. Some of it looks like I wasn't quite sure what it is. This looks like it's got a lot of mica caught inside of the quartz, which sort of makes for a cool specimen. And here's another piece of smoky that sort of has that octagon shape to it, which is probably why it got thrown in the bucket. Is it focused? So here's some of the rose-colored gem quality quartz. You can see how clear it is. I can see how clear it is. Still a little bit muddy, not too muddy. I've got a really nice size like triangle of it right there, and another nice piece, and I got this piece right here. Really nice clarity to it, really good color. And then as far as beryl goes, that's in this bucket. There's another piece of that rose quartz. See how clear it is? See it magnifying my finger behind it? So here's my selection of beryl that I came out of the mine with. This piece specifically I broke off of a bigger piece. Sometimes it'll have a mud line going through it, and you can just sort of pull it apart. And where it is sometimes the centers of them are much more gemmy than the outside, which that piece right there is pretty gemmy right there on that section. So who knows what's on the inside of it. It's got a nice sort of gem look to it on the edges, crystalline I should say. Nice crystalline look to it, and it's rather large. So I'm definitely going to end up cutting this one on a wheel and seeing what the inside of it holds. And this was the biggest one I pulled out of my hole. It's got a nice little look to it right there on that section. And right here I pulled a piece of it off, and you can see the mud layer and the sort of red staining that's there. But we'll see what's in the center of it. Maybe I'll have a good gemstone in the center of it right there. Maybe. There it goes. If you like what I'm doing here, make sure you hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and leave a comment and share any of the videos that you really appreciate. And if you'd like to help support Mining America, just check out my Patreon's page, and you can also buy something in my Etsy store and see it on the Mining America sales channel right below me. I love you for watching, and I'll see you in the dirt.